Jay, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. First off, I haven't seen you in years, partly due to the pandemic, the last year and a half or so. So travel's been a funny one. But I think the last time I saw you in person was when you and I took home the hardware together with another friend of ours in St. Kitts. So good to see your face, and thanks for taking the time to do this with me.
Yeah, that was a memorable trip. Boy, we played really well that week, and St. Kitts, didn't make our list, but it's a beautiful island and a wonderful golf destination in itself.
Yeah, we had a great time and lots of fun. Okay, Golf Pass, golfpass.com. You're one of the senior writers. You have been covering golf and golf travel for many years. And it's funny because, we're very familiar. I'm a member of the Golf Digest Top 100 list. We have our own list in Canada. But I love this Golf Pass list because it's a first of a kind. We're talking about the top 100 destinations. And I use quotations because, Jay, some of the destinations on your list are resorts, but they're more geared towards parts of the world. For an example, number one is St. Andrews. Well, St. Andrews, the village, all the golf, it means a lot. So, how did this list come about and how was it assembled?
What I've been telling people is we're just trying to point you in the direction of the best pockets of golf in the world. By that, I mean, there's Kohler in Wisconsin, which is a 5-star resort. It has the American Club, 4 Pete Dye courses. Everybody's heard of it. It'll host the Ryder Cup this fall. But there's so much more great golf around it. There's Erin Hills nearby within an hour. There's good golf in Milwaukee. So we don't want you to just focus on the Kohler. We want to introduce you to the entire destination. And that's what we've done throughout this list. Some of our destinations are entire countries. We point you to South Africa, or we point you to France. And where you go to play is up to you, but we're just trying to say, hey, go to these places. There's great golf, there's great entertainment, great dining, great culture, and you'll have an incredible trip.
Yeah, I love how you've done this. And again, it's the first time you've done it. It's a first of a kind. And to your point, St. Andrews is number one, Pebble Beach is number two, Northern Ireland, including Northwest, is number three. So it's a much bigger region, to your point. Pinehurst, number four, Australia Sandbelt, number five. Now, I've been to these regions with the exception of Australia. But to your point, when you say Pinehurst, I always tell people if they go to Pinehurst and they don't play Tobacco Road, they're missing out if they don't leave the Pinehurst property. So I think you're bang on. Okay, so who voted on this list? How was it actually physically assembled?
So there's 3 of us on staff. You might have met some of our guys with your travels, Brandon Tucker and Tim Gavrich. Between us, we've covered more than 2,000 courses across the world. I myself personally have been to 75 of these destinations. And we also have sources throughout the industry. We reached out to people and asked, should this be included? Should not? Why should we include it? So it's kind of a crowdsourcing type thing, but we feel really confident that we got a great cross section of the world represented in the list.
You really do. That was what I was going to mention, and I'm glad you brought it up because my first instinct on this list, which a lot of lists unfortunately tend to maybe not hit the mark, is they tend to become really American. And I really think this is a global list, and you've done an exceptional job at that. We've already mentioned the top 5. And to your point, when you get outside that top 10, it gets even deeper. Casa de Campo, which is a major sponsor of ours here on Golf Talk Canada, one of my favorite places in the world to go, they're number 12. Myrtle Beach, another big sponsor of ours, number 13. My favorite golf area in the entire world is Southwest Ireland. You've got them at 16. But there's some Canadian content here as well. Alberta and the Canadian Rockies in 14th. And then you've got Cape Breton. Of course, Cabot Links and Cliffs are out there. You got them at 19. But I love the Canadian content and I love the global flair to this list, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, we were very cognizant of we couldn't make this all about America and being American centric. Granted, almost half of the list is in America, but you look at the other 50, 51 selections that are international, Canada is well represented. you guys are always underrated in terms of a golf destination, I tell my American friends. And then, we've got some interesting surprises in there. Iceland is just an incredible destination that nobody would generally think of for golf. Um, and we wanted to get South America in there, so the best option there was Argentina. So we really, again, tried to think globally, think about, if I'm European and looking at this list, to make sure that they're catered to as well as the American audience.
Well, I think you hit a home run with that. I think you're bang on. And okay, I got to ask this question to you because you're speaking mainly to a Canadian audience at the moment. And you've got the Rockies and Alberta and that part of Canada at 14 and Cape Breton at 19. And from a Canadian perspective, at the moment, I don't think there's a hotter destination in Canada and maybe the eastern seaboard of the entire continent than Cabot Cliffs and Cabot Links. So, how does Alberta land at 14 and Cabot land at 19? Is this 5 spot difference due to things that are maybe not golf related in Alberta that moves them up the list?
I think a little bit of that. There's a few more courses to choose from in the Canadian Rockies. We also like the history of the Canadian Rockies, and, just the scenery. It's hard to compare mountain scenery with ocean scenery because they're both spectacular. So one person might like one a little better than the other. But I tell people, if you're within 10 spots of another destination, you could flip a coin.
He is Jason Deegan. It is Golf Pass, golfpass.com. It is the top 100 destinations, first time ever. I encourage everybody to go to golfpass.com and check this out because it's a great resource. And, eventually we'll start hitting the road again and the world's going to open up and we're going to be traveling. Follow Jason on Twitter at World Golfer. At World Golfer is the Twitter handle. Jay, I'm praying to God I'm on the West Coast next year covering some golf for PGA Tour, and I really hope we get to see each other in person. Appreciate your time and congratulations on a really fun list and a great resource that you guys have put together.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is a great opportunity, and I always tell my friends, I grew up in a small town in Michigan, right across from the Canadian border, so I have a little bit of Canadian blood in my heart.
Thanks, Jay.
Take care.